Hi there, and welcome back to Lynn Reads, the channel where in this video, we'll dive into the heart of A Tale of Two Cities, exploring the timeless themes that continue to captivate readers even today. If you enjoy what you hear and want to dive deeper, we've included a link to the book in the description below. Now, let's get started. A Tale of Two Cities, 1859, is a historical novel depicting the chaotic period of the French Revolution and the events occurring in London at the end of the 18th century. The story centers around the lives of Charles Darnay, a French aristocrat, and Sidney Carton, an eccentric English lawyer, two characters who look exactly alike. The novel explores profound themes such as sacrifice, resurrection, and the contrasts between the two cities of Paris and London, as well as the social injustices between different classes. Charles Dickens (1812–1870) was a renowned novelist and social critic of the Victorian era in England. He is celebrated for his immortal literary works, including classic novels like Oliver Twist and Great Expectations. These works remain an undeniable legacy in the world of literature, a story of love, sacrifice, and resurrection set against the turbulent backdrop of the French Revolution. A Tale of Two Cities is not only a classic novel but also a work that deeply contrasts the aristocracy and the oppressed lower classes during the French Revolution. While the aristocracy lives in luxury, the majority of the population endures poverty, exploitation, and oppression. This profound inequality ignited the flames of revolution. Themes of love, sacrifice, and the transformation of characters are also explored in the work. The romantic love between Lucie and Darnay, or the boundless sacrifice of Sidney Carton, are all portrayed vividly. In addition, the novel depicts the journey of redemption and liberation for the characters, especially Sidney Carton, who sacrifices himself to ensure the happiness of the woman he loves. Imagine a dark, misty London scene, with the messenger Jerry Cruncher beginning his journey to Tellson's Bank on a late evening. Jerry is tasked with delivering a secret message to Jarvis Lorry, a lawyer working at the bank, who is traveling on a coach, trying to make his way through Shooter's Hill with two companions. After a long journey, Lorry finally arrives in Dover and takes shelter at the Royal George Hotel. There, Jarvis Lorry meets Lucie Manette, a young Frenchwoman in despair. Lucie delivers shocking news to Lorry. Her father, Dr. Alexandre Manette, who was thought to have died after nearly 2 decades of imprisonment in the Bastille in Paris, is miraculously still alive. Lorry then reveals that he was the one who helped Lucie escape France to England when she was a child, without Dr. Manette knowing. Together, they decide to go to Paris to find her father. In the quiet streets of Paris, they find Dr. Manette, living in poverty, working in a small attic above the Defarge family's wine shop. He is polishing shoes with a blank expression, completely lost in memory. Years of imprisonment have robbed him of his memory and his daughter. At first, he does not recognize Lorry, but then, a glimmer of recognition appears in his eyes as he recalls his past. In an emotional moment, Lucie steps forward and reveals that she is his daughter. Immediately, the fog of amnesia lifts in his mind. Dr. Manette regains his memory, but the psychological scars from his years of imprisonment and torture are still deeply imprinted on his mind and his frail body. The joy of reunion is brief, as the threat of discovery forces them to quietly flee Paris with Dr. Manette under the cover of night. This passage vividly depicts the complex historical backdrop of the coming French Revolution. Dickens portrays a desolate London and a chaotic Paris, full of social contradictions. The characters are filled with secrets, and a somber mood hangs over everything. The reunion of Dr. Manette and Lucie is tinged with sadness as they must secretly leave under the cover of night to avoid being hunted. This foreshadows the political and social upheavals soon to descend upon France. Dickens introduces the readers to the contrasting worlds of London and Paris at the close of the 18th century, setting the stage for the eruption of the French Revolution, while also establishing the core themes and central characters of the novel. One of the prominent themes explored is the stark contrast between the two capitals, London and Paris, representing two extremes of society. London, opulent and wealthy, is depicted through the upper class, such as Jarvis Lorry, an experienced lawyer traveling in a luxurious coach. Meanwhile, Paris is shown as impoverished, chaotic, and filled with disillusioned working-class people. The famous opening line of the novel, It was the best of times, it was the worst of times, captures this duality. London symbolizes the best of times, with stability and prosperity, while Paris represents the worst of times with poverty, injustice, and impending chaos. Let's take a closer look at the main characters. Jarvis Lorry, a reliable and conservative banker, represents the stability of London. He is tasked with secretly traveling to Paris to recall to life a man named Dr. Manette. This phrase metaphorically refers to restoring Dr. Manette's memory and identity after many years of cruel imprisonment in the Bastille. Dr. Manette, who survives 18 years of imprisonment in the Bastille, symbolizes the suffering and injustice many endured under the pre-revolutionary French monarchy. His story reflects broader social issues Dickens seeks to highlight. Dr. Manette's loss of memory represents the deep psychological trauma inflicted by authoritarian regimes. As Laurie and the reader travel from London to Dover and then to Paris, Dickens masterfully builds a tense, mysterious atmosphere. The mysterious passengers on the coach and the strange message recalled to life from Jerry Cruncher heighten the reader's curiosity and anticipation. Paris is portrayed as a city on the brink of collapse, filled with violence. The poverty and discontent of the people are starkly evident, warning of the impending upheavals. Lucie Manette, Dr. Manette's daughter, adds a deeply human and emotional element to the story. Her love and care for her father serve as a beacon of hope amidst the darkness of their crisis. The emotional reunion between father and daughter highlights the themes of family and the healing power of love. 5 years have passed, and the world has changed dramatically. The winds of revolution are blowing fiercely in France, signaling that a storm is coming. In this context, we meet Charles Darnay, a Frenchman, who is put on trial in London for treason for passing British military secrets to France. Interestingly, Darnay seems to support the French revolutionary movement, which adds suspense to the trial. Fortunately, he has the help of lawyers Stryver and Sidney Carton, a brilliant yet dissolute man who stand by him during the case. In France, we encounter Marquis St. Darnay's uncle. He symbolizes the arrogant aristocracy, indifferent to the suffering of the poor peasantry. In a previous incident, the Marquis accidentally killed a child with his carriage, but dismissed it as a minor inconvenience. This event becomes a symbol of the cruelty of the ruling class. In England, Lucie Manette faces a personal crisis when her father, Dr. Manette, falls into a state of madness after recalling his traumatic past in prison. Sidney Carton, a talented lawyer with a reckless lifestyle, has fallen in love with Lucie, but knows he is wasting his opportunity to be with her. In a heartbreaking moment, he confesses his feelings to Lucie, despite knowing she will never choose him. Next, we meet Stryver, a pompous lawyer. He wants to propose to Lucie, not out of love, but to climb the social ladder and fulfill his personal ambitions. He fails to understand the deep affection that other characters have for Lucie. The story shifts to Paris, where the Defarges run a wine shop, but they are also members of a growing revolutionary movement. They are compiling a list of enemies of the people, signaling that violence and chaos are about to erupt. In Monseigneur in Town and Monseigneur in the Country, Dickens satirizes the vanity and indifference of the aristocracy. They flee to their estates to escape the unrest, having never cared about the suffering of the peasants. Eventually, the Marquis St. is killed at his estate. This is a reminder that the people's suffering has reached its limit. An important revelation follows. Dr. Manette's letter, hidden in his old cell at the Bastille, is discovered. The letter details the horrors he endured during his imprisonment, exposing the cruelty and inhumanity of the monarchy. The letter serves as a spark that fuels the revolution, intensifying the people's hatred for the ruling class. Back in London, the fates of Darnay and Carton diverge. Darnay, deeply in love with Lucie, proposes to her. Meanwhile, Carton makes a pivotal decision about his future. He is aware of his flaws and is determined to change, seeking a more meaningful purpose in life. A significant event follows. Dr. Manette initially opposes Darnay's proposal to Lucie because he is unaware of Darnay's aristocratic background. However, he eventually agrees, and their marriage takes place. Meanwhile, Sidney Carton, who dearly loves Lucie but knows he cannot have her, vows to protect Lucie and Darnay at all costs. This chapter delves deeper into the characters and the relationships developing between them, while also reinforcing the political and social tensions in France leading up to the revolution. Charles Darnay, the central character of the story, is portrayed as a complex figure. He is put on trial in London for treason, which highlights the brutal justice system of the time. The charges against Darnay stem from the oppressive actions of his aristocratic family in France. Darnay's acquittal reflects concepts of justice, humanity, and the important role of law. His character also symbolizes the conflict between social classes. His renunciation of his cruel aristocratic family demonstrates a moral rift within the upper class. On the other hand, Sidney Carton undergoes a significant transformation. From a talented lawyer living recklessly, Carton gradually finds meaning in his life and a desire for redemption. His internal conflict and sense of wasted potential represent personal resurrection and salvation. In contrast, Lucie remains steadfast in her purity and ideals. She represents innocence, compassion, and family love. Lucie serves as the moral center of the entire story. This chapter also highlights the political and social contexts of England and France. England is portrayed as relatively stable and just, contrasting with France on the brink of revolution. The contrast between the two countries emphasizes the duality theme in the novel. Marquis Saint represents the oppressive French aristocracy. His indifference to the suffering of the people, as well as his callous attitude after accidentally killing a child, exposes the cruelty of the ruling class. Love and sacrifice are central themes in this chapter. The family love between Lucie and Dr. Manette is the main source of strength in the story. Darnay's love for Lucie and Carton's unrequited love for her show their willingness to sacrifice for Lucie's happiness. Paris is in chaos due to the revolution. The streets have turned into a battlefield as the people rise up against the ruling class. The Defarges, the vengeful revolutionaries, are hunting down the surviving members of the family, including Charles Darnay. When Darnay returns to France out of duty, he is arrested and faces charges related to his aristocratic lineage. Madame Defarge, relentless in her quest for vengeance, becomes a terrifying enemy, symbolizing the fury of the oppressed people, as Darnay's life is threatened in Paris. In London, his family and friends embark on what seems to be an impossible mission to rescue him. Time is running out, and the tension builds as the final judgment on Darnay's fate approaches. Amid the turmoil, Lucie stands as a symbol of compassion and courage. She embodies undying love for her father and husband. Lucie's calmness and resilience give strength to those around her. In a memorable chapter, we get a glimpse of the lives of the French people at the heart of the revolution. A humble carpenter represents the masses suffering in poverty and yearning for justice. His revolutionary zeal reflects the stark contrast between the revolutionary ideals and the harsh realities of life. As Darnay's trial reaches its climax, it plays out like a drama about life and death during the French Revolution. This is the pivotal moment when the sentence is handed down. The events in England and the tragedy in Paris intersect with growing tension. The final confrontation between good and evil is about to unfold. Sidney Carton takes center stage as he impersonates Darnay to fulfill his promise to protect Lucie's happiness. This memorable moment ties together the themes of resurrection, love, and forgiveness that run throughout the novel. After being saved, Darnay must face the challenge of rebuilding his life and atoning for his past. The shadow of his past still looms over him, and he must prove himself to Lucie and her father. The novel ends with the theme of duality, repeating the famous opening line, "It was the best of times, it was the worst of times." The revolution brings both destruction and hope, and the characters undergo profound transformations. This reflects the dual nature of humanity and revolutions. In A Tale of Two Cities, the themes of resurrection and redemption are central. The characters Charles Darnay, Sidney Carton, and even Dr. Manette undergo profound transformations, reflecting the societal changes occurring during the French Revolution. Darnay's trial and Carton's sacrifice symbolize rebirth and salvation, emphasizing the novel's core message that people can change and find redemption. The French Revolution creates the backdrop for the story, and this chapter vividly depicts the chaos, brutality, and despair of this historical period. Through this, Dickens critiques the ruthless ruling class and the oppressive system that led to the revolution. The Defarges and Madame Defarge symbolized the anger and desire for revenge of the oppressed people. The relationships between the characters reach a climax in this chapter. Lucie's love and support play a stabilizing role amid the chaos, emphasizing the strength of compassion and resilience. A Tale of Two Cities is set in London and Paris at the end of the 18th century, a period of great upheaval and chaos. The story combines the fates and lives of several characters, including Charles Darnay, mysterious man of aristocratic blood, Sidney Carton, the dissolute lawyer seeking redemption, and Lucie Manette, symbol of compassion and humanity. Amid the French Revolution, the novel explores themes of love, sacrifice, and human resurrection. At the height of the plot is Carton's noble act of sacrifice. Dickens vividly portrays the contrast between the decaying ruling class and the oppressed people, exposing the social and political injustice. With its unique narrative style, A Tale of Two Cities remains an immortal masterpiece that continues to captivate readers to this day. A Tale of Two Cities is a powerful narrative set during the tumultuous period of the French Revolution. The novel is filled with deep themes of sacrifice, resurrection, and the stark contrast between the aristocracy and the common people. The story follows two central characters, Charles Darnay, a French aristocrat, and Sidney Carton, an English lawyer, who share an uncanny resemblance. The plot weaves their destinies together as they navigate the chaotic environment of Paris and London. During the late 18th century, the novel's opening line, "It was the best of times, it was the worst of times," encapsulates the duality of the era where London symbolizes stability and prosperity, while Paris represents poverty, unrest, and looming revolution. Dickens paints a vivid picture of the social divide, where the aristocracy lives in opulence, while the common folk suffer under oppression. What stands out in the book is the theme of sacrifice. Sidney Carton, in particular, undergoes a profound transformation. His journey from a self-destructive, apathetic lawyer to a man willing to sacrifice his life for the woman he loves is a heart-wrenching but powerful redemption arc. His act of self-sacrifice at the novel's climax is a moment of profound grace, making him one of literature's most memorable tragic heroes. The theme of resurrection is also heavily explored, both literally and metaphorically. Dr. Manette's recovery from 18 years of imprisonment is a symbol of hope, while Carton's own personal resurrection through his sacrifice offers a deeply emotional conclusion. Overall, A Tale of Two Cities is not just a historical novel but a profound exploration of human nature, the power of love and redemption, and the stark realities of social injustice. Dickens' critique of the aristocracy and the tumultuous events of the Revolution makes this novel both a historical commentary and a timeless piece on the human condition. The characters' deep internal struggles and ultimate transformations resonate long after the final page. And that wraps up our deep dive into this remarkable book. We hope it's been valuable to you. If you're interested in more titles with similar themes, leave a comment with your thoughts and recommendations. You can also buy the book to experience it more clearly, as well as support the author. I will leave the link in the description below for you to easily search. If you like the channel, you can press the like button, share, and turn on the notification bell to receive new content. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next video.